right, good evening, everyone. Thank y'all so much for joining us for our last Adulting 101 of the semester. Special thanks, as always, to Center for Financial Wellness. Y'all have done, what, 3 of these with us this year? Well, this semester, it's felt like a year. So again, thank you to Center for Financial Wellness. Philippia and Becky are here with us today. They are going to be presenting about rethinking holiday spending. So be sure to have your questions ready for them. Just a few quick announcements in case we lose y'all at the end. Center for Student Engagement, we are still doing events. So if y'all are interested in coming to events from now through post-Thanksgiving, we have a trivia night on Thursday night starting at 7 right across the hall from us in the Student Union Ballroom. And then we will have a couple of other virtual events, another downtown Knoxville tour, and an ornament making workshop live and in person after Thanksgiving. You can find all of that information on calendar.utk.edu or in the Vol Life app. If y'all don't have that app, I highly suggest downloading it. It's a great resource and tells you all about great things that are happening on campus and in our office. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand this over to Ms. Philippia, and she is going to present, with Becky's help today, on rethinking holiday spending.
All right. Thank you, Megan. That was great. It sounds like a lot of great activities still happening on campus, so that sounds really good. I would recommend if you don't have, there's a couple of activities involved in this presentation, at least one. And so if you want to pull out, like if you use your cell phone to because we're going to ask you to kind of write some things down or take out a piece of paper, so that way you can be engaged in that activity. So like Megan said, this is a presentation on rethinking holiday spending. And my name is Philippia Satterwhite, and I am the coordinator of financial wellness and education here at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. This is a relatively new office for the university. We opened in fall 2019. And so we're really excited about having the opportunity to help students around money management, financial planning, college planning, and so really, or any of the topics that students have when it comes to finances. And then we have Becky Sparks, who's a financial wellness coach. And she's a great asset in our office. So she comes from a banking and teaching background. So she offers a lot of good insights to students, and you can definitely meet with her for a one-on-one appointment. So what we do offer in the Center for Financial Wellness, we do have Zoom appointments right now. And so you can do this one-on-one or the small group appointment. So if you and say maybe a couple of your friends want to come and sit down and make a financial plan for living together, you can definitely come and talk to us about that. Or if it's just yourself, you can definitely feel free to meet with us. We also have peer guides. They are students like you, and so but they have been trained on a variety of financial topics. And so probably around between Thanksgiving and the New Year, it'll probably be me, Becky and I, since just like you, they're students and they won't be here after Friday. But if you definitely want to meet with a peer guide in the spring, you definitely can. We also do things like this where we do group and organization presentations. So we can come out and meet with people or organizations to kind of do activities or give presentations just like this one. So that all said, what are we going to do today? So we're going to start with the mindfulness activity, and then we're going to talk about holiday spending plans, and then tips for holiday spending. And if we have time, we may do another activity, and then we'll talk about how to get in contact with the Center for Financial Wellness. So what is mindfulness? So mindfulness is about being in the moment and being in a place that's quiet and restful and being present and aware. And so mindfulness is all about recognizing where you are in the moment. And so you can do this when thinking about financial wellness. So what it means to be present means you need to maybe make it a part of your daily routine. So one of the things that I do is that I get an alert on my phone every morning, tell me what my balance is in my checking account. And that helps me make sure that I haven't gone off track with my own spending plan or my own spending. It also, I do it first thing in the morning when I don't have any other activities interrupting me, and I can really focus on how I want my day to go. I know some people do that at the end of their day, but just any time where you can be relaxed, so they can be calm. And then also recognizing that even if for some reason I'm unable to stay on track, I can still recognize that and recognize that maybe they made some mistakes, and then allow myself to kind of recognize that and change it. And then just to be aware of the feelings I'm feeling when it comes to my finances, and so that can help lower my stress and anxiety. And so hopefully with this presentation, we can give you some tools to kind of also practice mindfulness. And of course, I've said this, I'll say it again. If you have a question, feel free to put it in the chat or just ask it if you're here in the room with us. Just ask it, raise your hand, ask it, whatever. It's very formal. Becky here is going to handle our questions, so she'll let me know if there are questions in the chat. So how are we going to start? So I want you guys to write down 3 people for whom you're planning to buy a gift for this holiday season. So just think about there's 3 people that you plan on getting a gift for this holiday season. Just take a moment and think about that. And as you're thinking about that, write down what you plan on buying them. So, maybe not what you plan on getting for yourself, but maybe what you plan on giving to them. And then also, as you're writing that down, I want you to notice if you have your anxiety level. Thinking about who you're buying a gift for. Maybe I can't narrow it down to 3 people, right? That can cause very stress. If you have lots of brothers and sisters, lots of siblings, grandparents, your parents, aunts, uncles. So, and then thinking about what you're going to buy them, did that kind of increase any anxiety? So I'm gonna just give you a minute to kind of do that. Brianna, if you have a question, you can definitely put it in the chat because we can't hear you, unfortunately. You have to put it in the chat. Hello. I love it, Brianna. I love that you're engaged. I love it. Yes. So anyone want to, as they kind of finish up with the activity, want to share maybe what their thoughts were during the activity? Anyone in the room want to share kind of what their thoughts were, or in the webinar online? They can let me know if anyone puts anything.
Nothing yet. I'll share my thoughts though, because I did the activity as well, and I could feel my anxiety level just slowly creeping up just thinking about it. It just makes me nervous, just the thought of spending money. So I don't know if anybody's in that boat.
All right. So again, this is very informal. So if you later on go, oh, I definitely, it's Leah. That's it. Yeah. What are we getting out there, Becky?
So it looks like Brianna's in the same boat as I am. She's getting a little nervous. Leah says she doesn't even know, she realized she doesn't even know what she wants to buy. And Jamisha says she definitely had to rethink some gift ideas. I'm right there. Yeah, I'm in the same boat there.
Yeah, that's a really great. Yeah, like maybe not even thought about it yet, even though certain holidays are coming up in like a little over a month, and you may say, "Hey, I haven't even thought about what I'm going to buy." Right? You're like, "Yeah, maybe I'll buy my mom a gift. I don't know what that is," or just like maybe thinking about how much am I going to even spend, on it. So hopefully, as we go through this presentation, we'll give you some ideas and some strategies so that you feel more prepared and it maybe doesn't, increase your anxiety level. Thank you guys for sharing.
Rebecca says it's hard to have impactful and meaningful gifts without spending a fortune sometimes.
It feels that way sometimes, and maybe we'll touch on that a little bit during this presentation. Thank you guys so much, and keep them coming. I can always stop. So the first step, if you haven't done so, is to create a holiday spending plan. And a holiday spending plan allows you to track your kind of weekly and monthly activities, right? It allows you to look for ways to save money and also prepare for the future. So we say this anytime we talk about a spending plan, right? So it's really about looking at the income you bring in and the expenses you have going out. So if you're making a holiday spending plan, one, you got to know how much money you have coming in, right? How much money do you have to, for the coming in to pay your expenses? And then you divide that income into two expense groups. You have fixed expenses and flexible expenses. And fixed expenses are things that are pretty much the same from month to month and typically are harder to get out of. So like your lease for your apartment, right? Or a phone bill or a car payment or your tuition, right? And so these things are fixed. They're usually the same amount from month to month. And nothing that you actually do, none of your behaviors or activities will change the amount of that expense. I like to tell students, yeah, if you say, I only go to class, I've only been in class 10% of the time, it's still not going to change how much we charge for tuition. So it's always better to make more use of it than not to. So, and so also, if you live in an apartment, it doesn't matter if you never step into that apartment, you still have to pay the rent on it. Then you have things that are flexible expenses. And these are expenses that you still have to pay for, but you have some more control over how much you pay for that. So that's like food, gas, entertainment, and gifts, right? So we kind of circled that to talk about gifts in particular. So just like how much you drive your car will impact how much gas you have to put in it from month to month or week to week. Same thing happens with gifts, right? So more thought you put into the gifts you're getting, the more flexibility you can have in those costs. So, and then you have sometimes people take on debt to kind of cover these expenses. And that's what you really want to avoid, right? So you want to avoid taking on debt in order to buy gifts or to pay for these flexible expenses. So that's a no-go. So money saved for gifts. So maybe you say, okay, I'm going to save $250 for gifts, and you then divide it amongst everyone you want to buy a gift for, right? So significant other, because sometimes parents may not like it, and you may spend more money on your significant other than you do on them, but that's okay. But your mom, your dad, sister, brother, grandmother, uncle, your best friend. So really knowing who you want to buy a gift for, and how much you want to pay at total or max on that particular person, right? And again, I would say this, the amount you spend on a person does not mean you care about them any more or less than someone else, right? Just because you decide to spend a little bit more on one person than the other, that is not necessarily an indication of that person being more important or less important to you. So what we have in the Center of Financial Wellness is what we call our spending plan. So we kind of use this to help students, if they've never created a spending plan or never tracked their spending before, then we have this tool that really helps them do that. What this does is it puts in your income. So if you work, you can add that. And if you work from week to week, you can also put that in the income section. So as long as you're under usually like $12,000 a year, then you're in the 10% tax bracket. And so you can kind of determine how much you make from week to week. If you get money from family or from financial aid refund, you can put that in here. And then we have the expense column where you then subtract all your expenses. Now, you just gotta put the number in and the actual tracker will do all the math for you. So you don't have to do any math. It's already set up to do that for you. And then you, of course, can change any of the expense titles. Like we don't have, say, a car payment, but you have another payment, you can always change that for something else. We also have a section for savings, so for emergency plans. If you're not, so even though you think about getting gifts for someone, you can still think about paying yourself first, still saving for emergencies. That always should be a part of your spending plan. So And so this is a great tool that we think is a great tool. And so if you definitely want it or want to talk to us more about it, feel free to email us at financialwellness@utk.edu, and we'll be happy to share it with you. Megan, was there a question out there?
There was just a statement, but I took care of it, so we're good to go.
Okay, great. All right, so here's some tips for holiday spending. Start months in advance. I mean, now it's November 17th, so maybe not December 2020, but thinking about December 2021 as you move forward. So hopefully, the tips you take away today will be helpful in the long term. So the earlier you can start anything, it is always better because time is money, right? So I talk about retirement a lot because I'm probably closer to retirement than you guys are. And so I think about, oh man, if I had just started at 21, even just saving a little bit, then I would be closer to my retirement target than I am now. So the more time you give yourself for anything, one, you can then minimize the anxiety you feel. You can be really thoughtful about what you're getting. And so starting as far in advance as you can is important. So it doesn't mean today's not December 25th. So you still have time. So you can still be thoughtful and start thinking in now about what you want to do for the holidays. And I know different people celebrate different holidays. There's some are sooner, some are later. So whatever that is, it's not today because you still have time. And if you're not, if you do already create a budget every month, or you kind of have your own, making sure that you're adding gifts as a part of your expense that you pay into, like a saving expense. All right, so that's one way. So you can say, hey, if I want to get the $350 for gifts, and if I can save, $50 a month, or $25 a month, or $15, then given how much time you need, then you can meet those goals without feeling anxious. So making sure it's a part of your plan is always going to be important. And then you want to set aside money out of every paycheck or income source for gifts, right? So as you're thinking about any goal you set, be it gifts or studying abroad or tuition and fees or books and supplies, you can always still set money aside for these goals. Because if you plan for it, then the expenses have to become a debt. So you don't have to then take on debt to meet a financial goal. Right? I know a lot of people do that to meet those goals, but if you can plan for it, then you can kind of minimize the need for debt. Okay, so just like when we did the mindfulness activity, we asked you to write things down. Again, make a list, right? So know and be specific, right? And so the parts of the list should include the name of the person. Know who you are going to get a gift for, right? So knowing who you're buying gifts for is the start of the process. What you wish to get them. I use the word wish, right? Because it may not be possible. Like my nephew, who is 13, will be 13 in January, he wants a new PlayStation 5, I think they're on. And I'm like, I don't know why you're asking me. I'm not your mom. So, but, I wish I give my nieces and nephews the things they all want. It's sometimes not feasible. So, but you can definitely start with what you wish to give them, right? So at least the starting point, all right? And then you want to think about the amount of money you cannot exceed in terms of all your gifts. Like your gift amount in total, how much do you not want to exceed that amount? And then if you break it down into who you're giving that money to, then you don't want to exceed that limit. So if Joe has a heart, so that's a significant other, if Joe is someone that you're going to buy a gift for, then you don't want to go over $100 for that expense. And so making a list, maybe what the gift is, and the amount that you don't want to exceed, right? So you want to have a total budget, and then you want to divide that budget between individuals. All right. So remember your intent. Your intent is to show loved ones that you care. right? That's really what gift giving is about. It's showing, is the giving on a physical representation of your care, right? And so it's really the thought, not the cost that counts. I know someone out there said it feels really bad maybe when you can't maybe get the most expensive thing. So last year, my uncle, who lives in Atlanta, he is like in his 70s, he's older, he's on a fixed income. He mailed me a Christmas card and he had $1 in it, and that's all he could. And I thought that was so touching that he thought enough of me to even send me a card and then put what he could in it. So it doesn't, because if these are the people that care about you, then they really won't care about the cost of the gift, right? Because if they care about you and they know that you're a college student and you're on a fixed income, then they won't, look and say, oh, this is X amount. And if they do, that's something to think about in your relationship with that person. So again, it's the thought, not the cost, that counts. So sometimes you can think about making gifts. So I think Megan mentioned that there is, at the Thanksgiving, you're doing like ornaments and doing that. And so that might be a really great way to make a gift for someone. You made it by hand. And I'm sure because it's UT, we love UT branding. So there might be some of that involved. And then you could show your love with something that comes from you, right? If you like to bake, if you like to create, then that's one way of reducing the cost of gift giving, right? But still being able to show something that comes from the heart. And then one thing too is that and if you're not the most talented or artistic person, it doesn't mean that maybe you don't know someone who is, right? So maybe you know someone who's artistic and who can maybe, who's creative, and they can maybe make something nice at a discounted cost to you, because they're your friend or they too are students. And so thinking about, okay, I don't know how to bake, but my roommate's girlfriend does, and she's happy to help, bake those cookies or something like that. So thinking about making your gifts is one way to also save money, but also to demonstrate that you care about someone. And then as we get through this year, make sure you plan for next year. So even if you can't in December or right now do exactly what you want or make the wishes, provide the gifts that you wish to provide, doesn't mean that you can't start early next year. So starting in January or even this year, thinking about moving on to 2022, 21. I'm already moving way ahead. And so what we're saying is that we need to approach holidays with mindfulness, right? So it's really about you're connecting with your loved ones and your family. And I know it may look different this year for some families. And I know that it may not be, so you may not actually be able to be in someone's presence, but it doesn't mean that you can't be present, right? I remember one year I came home from college and I didn't have any money. And I said, hey guys, here I am. I'm here for the holidays. I'm your gift. And my sisters and brothers, they weren't as excited about it because they're like, it sounds not like. So, but again, making sure that you're mindful and really thinking about, creating healthy habits. Because if you're in the habit of just spending money because you're like, you want to give gifts, then you'll never develop the ability to not feel anxious about it, not to feel like it's come up, that people will say, oh my God, it's already Christmas and I'm not ready. I got to go out and buy gifts because they haven't planned. So again, planning is what's important. All right.
And
So I'm
Olivia,
going to any questions.
before we go on, I do have a question. It's a very good question. She says, I lost my job this summer due to COVID and have not been able to find work since. How do I tell my loved ones that financially I'm not capable of giving the gifts I usually give, but I still care and want to celebrate? I also don't want to undergive and have those close to me give me something more expensive than what I can give to them.
That is a good question. And I have a couple of thoughts, and Becky If I miss something, definitely feel free to add it. But a couple of different things, right? Like I know sometimes parents can maybe spend more money on their children than maybe their children spend on them. And I think parents are usually more open to the idea because if about cost and how much um, you're spending on them, just because they probably already know that you don't have a lot of money, right? They probably know that you have not been able to work because of COVID, and so they are probably aware of it. And I know sometimes maybe with friends or siblings or other family members, they may not, be as aware of your particular situation in the moment. But so some thoughts I had was, again, are there things that you can make? Is there a letter you could write, right? Writing something heartfelt and saying how you feel, and because again, it's not necessarily about the cost of an item. And I get it, how people are like, well, yes, I wrote you this letter, you bought me an Xbox 4, and it feels out of um, out of weight. And so you can definitely, it's sometimes hard to have those conversations. And so maybe even starting an email. Like one of the things that we do in my family is I have a lot of sisters and brothers, and that means I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and I also have a lot of great nieces and nephews. And so I have a really huge family. And I don't buy gifts for everyone in the family. We decided years ago that this is something that we can't, this is not sustainable to buy gifts for everyone. So one of the things that we did is we do a secret Santa exchange, right? So we pull names and we buy only one gift for a person, right? And then one person, that so you feel more like it's okay, and you can then set like price limits on it, like no more than $25 or $50, whatever that is. And some people do like it can't be bought; it has to be handmade. Right? It just kind of depends on the family. But so one thing to do is say, hey, and my sister loves to get gifts, but then she finally got on board with it. But we did it a couple years, and she was like, oh, this does feel more relaxed, and she's not trying to scrounge up gifts for me. And I'm like, I don't need a gift, right? So one thing, so again, cards, notes, doing a secret Santa exchange where you just buy one gift. You don't be like, we don't buy a bunch of adults gifts. And I'm trying to think, I don't know. Do you have any suggestions, Becky?
No, I really like what you've said so far. Just from a a mom perspective, I'm a mom, and I personally don't want my kids to buy me anything for Christmas just because, I know they don't have a lot of money. I know that that would be hard for them. But the thing with having somebody make something for you is number one, they were thinking about you personally when they were making that. And number two, it's the only one like it in the world. So, and I think being on my side of it now, I understand that a lot better than I did when I was the kid or the student and didn't have the money. So making something is a very special thing. So yeah, I definitely agree with that.
And I would say if you're gonna, and also just bring it up during Thanksgiving, right? We're about to hit our Thanksgiving holiday. Maybe have a conversation with your family during Thanksgiving and say, because there are a lot of people right now having, financial issues because of COVID, right? And so you may not even be the only one. There may be others in your family who are feeling the exact same way. So bringing up that conversation might reveal that there are a number of people who feel very much also strapped for cash and appreciate the idea of not having to spend money on buying gifts. So again, you can and then if you do it at Thanksgiving, it still gives you time to make a plan and figure out how you want to approach the holidays. So yes, I would definitely, and if there's someone in your family that you feel super close to that you can confide these feelings with. So if you don't necessarily feel the most comfortable bringing it up, because maybe I'm the youngest of six and I have a lot of personalities in my family, and they feel like they can just because I'm the youngest, they don't always want to hear what I say. But so maybe talking to someone else in the family to kind of get their perspective on what other people may be thinking or feeling. And then maybe also create like, that's what I did. I had to talk because I talked my brother into doing it. Like, he's like, yeah, this makes sense. And we created like a united front against my older sister because she's like 15, 16 years older than us. And so it felt like she's mom. And we had to be like, no, no, Portia, it really, you will benefit from this. You'll love this. So maybe finding someone who also can share in that conversation, can be supportive in that conversation would be helpful as well. But that's a great question. Thank you for asking
Yeah.
that.
And I think too, one more thing, you know, this year in particular has been stressful, but the holidays always are stressful. And
Mhm.
so one of the things that I strive to do, just because I know how I handle stress, is I try to take steps to eliminate stress where I can. And, you know, it could be that there are a lot of people in your family who are thinking, I really need to back off this year, but they don't want to be the one to say it. So it could very well be that if you say, hey, you know, let's take a step back this year, then you're going to have all these other people in your family saying, oh, yes, please, let's do that. So, yeah, don't be afraid to speak up because
Mhm.
leaving us keeping the stress out of it is I think is very important too.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing, because the holidays should be not stressful, right? It's one of those times to decompress. You know, everyone's had like either a hard work life or hard student life or both if you're a student and working. And so taking the moment to relax and not feel stressed, I think is appreciated. And then again, and it's easy for me to say, oh, if someone's demanding an expensive gift, um, then that's something to think about. But I get it when it's family, it can be hard, right? It can be hard, especially if, especially with, I think, siblings. I keep coming back to siblings because they tend to be the ones who like, well, I spent this amount, and and you tend to fall into roles that you've kind of taken on over years, and so one of the things about being a college student is also when you kind of on your own and you start to kind of develop what you think is important and what your values are and what your priorities are, being able to voice that, right? It's so powerful. Just like managing your money, having control over your money is powerful. And the more you kind of tap into that, I think the more comfortable you get with having those conversations. The more comfortable you are with, you having say on your choices, and that includes how you spend your money, the more you feel comfortable being who you are and then also expressing that. And so that's so powerful. And there, and so I think thinking about kind of your role, and taking on a new role, maybe being a leader in your family, right? And taking up and say, hey, I'm not the only one that feels this way. So those are just my thoughts on that. Are there any other questions out there? Or in here? And then ask you guys, you have any questions? Okay.
No, we're good on this end too.
Okay. So we did talk about doing an activity at the end, just to kind of get a sense of how much people think things cost. And so as you are thinking about spending money over the holidays, oh, I would say this too, like one of the gifts I do, because I'm not a big cook, I'm not a big baker, but but I do have something that I make really well, like like macaroni and cheese, and that's what my family will sometimes ask me, like, can you just make this macaroni and cheese for me? And that's all I want. And sometimes that's also good, right? Just making something for the meal, right? So as you're celebrating together, bringing something to the table. So I thinking about groceries and thinking about expenses can really also, there's other things that you can do during the holidays to again express how you care. That doesn't come to boil down to a price tag. All right, so Becky, you want to introduce the game since you have the.
Sure. So we're going to play a game. It's called Up Your Game. And the way this works is you're going to see six grocery items. While Philippa is pulling this up, I'll explain it. So if you see over on the right there, you're going to see six grocery items. I'm going to explain those to you so you make sure you know how large they are, the ounces and that all that sort of thing. And your job is to decide where everything goes. So you start with the mailbox and you need to decide what's going to go in there. And then you go to the first level and you have to choose two of those grocery items to go in that first level, the chair and the microwave. And those two things have to add up to more than what you put in the mailbox. And then you go on to the second level. Those two things have to add up to more than what you put on the first level. And then the top level, your attic, that has to be, the big one. That has to add up to more than that middle level there. So, are you ready for me to describe the different products, Philippia?
Let me see if people have questions first. And so what we're gonna do, we can see if the online people, I mean, it's more of you online, but versus in person. Let's see who does a better job at this. But go ahead. So yes, let's see if anyone has questions. You have questions about how to do this?
Uh-oh. Jamisha's on to us.
So somebody's on touch, you said? So how it works is these are everyday items. She's going to describe what they are. And we're gonna move these into different spots in the house. Right? The idea is that as you go up, you want things above it to be more than what's below. Right? So whatever you put in the mailbox has to be less than what's in the couch and the microwave combined. And then what's in the TV and the bathtub have to be more than what the chair and the microwave are combined. And then finally, within the sink has to be more than what's in the TV and the bathtub combined. And these are the 5 items you have to pick from. And she'll talk about the sizes and describe them. All right. So I think we're clear on this side. People are clear out there?
Yes, Jamisha says it reminds me of a game on The Price is Right.
Exactly on The Price is Right. This is exactly
Yeah.
that game that she's thinking of. All right, so I'm gonna do here and here, so you get from the chat. So
Okay.
what do we think we should put in the mailbox? Oh, hang on, before we do that, Becky, can you describe the items and the sizes?
Sure. So first we have ragu spaghetti sauce. Ragu contains 2 servings of vegetables in every half cup. High quality ingredients, authentic taste. That's 24 ounces. Next we have Kellogg's Pop Tarts. Frosted strawberry, our classic Pop Tarts flavor. Sweet frosting decorated with rainbow sprinkles and filled with strawberry flavored goodness. No wonder it's so popular. The 8-count box. All right, this one always, I trip over this one. DiGiorno pepperoni pizza. DiGiorno Pizzeria Primo pepperoni pizza. Starts with a delicious crust drizzled with extra virgin olive oil. The flavorful sauce is made with vine-ripened tomatoes and herbs. Then it's topped with premium pepperoni. No artificial flavors or preservatives. New Pizzeria Primo pepperoni pizza is a whole new pizza experience. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno. 18.7 ounces.
I will say we are not getting any kickbacks from any of these people. We get no endorsements from any of these products. Go ahead.
All right, next is Maruchan ramen, not your ordinary chicken noodle soup. Enjoy ramen perfectly seasoned with the savory taste of chicken. It's a 3-ounce package. Next is Dove Beauty Bar. For skin that looks soft, smooth, and radiant, turn to the Dove Beauty Bar. With 1/4 moisturizing cream, it goes beyond cleansing, nourishing skin as it washes away the day. 3.17-ounce bars. So there are 3 bars in there. And then last, we have Charmin Ultra Soft Toilet Paper. Looking for an irresistibly soft toilet paper in a long-lasting roll? Charmin Ultra Soft Super Mega Roll is the same great softness you love, but just more of it. More convenient, more value, and all in our longest lasting roll. Charmin Ultra Soft is our softest toilet paper ever, so it's harder than ever to resist. See for yourself why Charmin Ultra Soft Super Mega Roll is the best choice for you. And there are 12 rolls.
All right, so just to make sure, it's 20-ounce ragu, 8-count Pop Tarts, 1 pizza, 1 ramen noodle, 3 Dove bars, and a 12-count of toilet paper.
Yes.
Okay. right,
All
guys.
right.
Who do you think we should put in the mailbox?
Okay, so people online, send me a chat. I've already had one. What do you want to put in the mailbox? All right, that's 2 for ramen. There's another one for ramen. Oh, 3 for ramen.
You don't
4.
mind, like, so we can well be influenced by your choices.
Oh, whoops. I'll put it in. I'll chat.
Okay. So the noodle we're gonna put in the mailbox. What do you think that is? Think 50 cents sound right to you? The value? The dollar. And we got this from like Walmart, their prices. Okay, so we're gonna put the noodles in the mailbox. Okay, what about the count in the microwave? How much do you think hot dogs are? 375, what about 8? Okay. What's the other item? That's where it's hard. Right. How much do you think that is? $2. Okay, so we're about at $5. All right. What's next? So what are the TV and action? How much is the box?
How many bars are in the? I'm guessing like $4.
$4. What's the other item?
I'm guessing the Charmin.
So, how much is that cost? So it's, 12 rolls. Becky, did you say the toilet paper was 12 rolls or 6 rolls?
It is 12 rolls.
12 rolls, okay.
I think my picture.
Yeah, the picture says 6.
I think it says 24.
No, it says 6 equals 24.
That's
Sorry, what you think it's 24. That's 12.
Well, let's see. Hang on. Let's go with 12 because I can't look just at the moment.
So the pizza's 24 ounces or 17 ounces?
Pizza is 18.7 ounces.
Feels like they're very large. What do you think pizza?
I think for me it's something Charmin.
One option is silk and the toilet paper. What do you want to call?
I guess $6.
$6. And the real thing is the soap and the pizza. How much do you think the soap is? not very much difference between 475, and then how much you think you need? That means you can have different ideas about what say. So if you would think what you think,
I would think the pizza.
the pizza is, how much you think?
I think the pizza is around 12.
Okay. And then for you think that the toilet paper is the same, right? How much you think the toilet paper is?
It might be
11. Okay. So this is kind of give you a sense of what you said. So noodles is about $1, all of that. The mailbox, and then the Pop Tarts about $55. And then this will be diverse. You think Dove are $4, and so the six is $10. And then you say it's Dove, and it's $4.75, and the pieces are $5. So and then you think it's pizza for 12, toilet paper for 11. All right. So any thoughts before we lock this in?
I'm just thinking back to
How they doing out there? Like, I know you had more people.
We are finished. We are ready to go.
Okay, so before we do that, I would like to say the point of this exercise is to kind of, we kind of always kind of think when we're thinking about buying gifts and we think about buying things in general, and we think about budgeting, sometimes we estimate what we think, how much things cost. All right. And sometimes you can be better or worse at it. And so, especially when we're making plans, so we're like, oh yeah, I want to buy this gift and that gift. And then, so really thinking about how much things cost. And then, because I know this happens to me a lot. Like I'll go to the grocery store and oh my goodness, this is on sale for like $1. This is on sale for $2. And I'm like, oh my God, how am I at $50 above my budget? So I gotta put stuff back. So I've been loving like the grocery store pickup because I can I look at everything, I look at how much things cost before I buy it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I don't need this stuff. Even though it's on sale, I really don't need it. And so having a plan going into, before you purchase, to have a plan is always gonna be better than when you go in and just buying kind of at will. So the point of this exercise is to get you thinking about how much things cost and how much you think things cost. Are you right or you wrong? But also just to poke in with your thoughts. So what we're gonna do this. Do you guys have just one answer, Becky?
Yes, we have one answer.
Okay, because we have two separate ones because they could not agree. So we're gonna go with our two.
Okay.
So we're gonna go. Well, we did agree here. We're gonna put the noodles in the mailbox.
Okay.
Is that what your team did?
Yes, that's what our team did as well. So you're gonna have to move those over there.
Oh,
Felicia.
I'm waiting for you to move those. I'm like, what's going on, Becky? Okay. So we're gonna put the noodles. Oops. Not what I thought would happen. Oh no.
Will not do it.
I think I need to actually download it.
What?
This is going to be like what's it called when you do a cliffhanger? Like, we don't have an answer, guys. I'm sorry. No one knows. Let's see.
It was fun, but you'll never know.
I know. We'll never know what the answer was. I thought I downloaded it. That's what I thought, but it didn't come up. Well, I was trying to download it as a no, because oh, I see what you're saying. I was like, I don't see that. Keep going there. There's something at the bottom right here. There it is. Okay, thank you guys. I don't see the PowerPoint. Okay, so, of course. I don't know, whatever. No, I always say no. Done. Okay, that's nice. Yeah, I thought I could slide around the bar, but it would not let me. Okay, so here we go. Come on, go away, bar. All right, now we go. Let me move the ramen. Why wouldn't it not let me move it? That's all right. Let me take it out of this mode. No, it's not in that mode anymore. It will not let me move this. That is so weird. All right. We're gonna put the ramen in the mailbox, even though this is so weird, it won't move. Let me go back here. It worked. We did this presentation like 2 weeks ago and everything worked. It's so weird. Well, I think this might actually move. Okay, here we go. All right, boom. Ramen in the mailbox. Okay. So we thought and we were still on the same page here, Pop-Tarts and Ragu in the bottom. What did you guys get?
We did Pop-Tarts and Dove.
Okay, that's interesting.
Mm.
So I'm gonna just move all three, even though it may not. So okay. So you guys think it's the Pop-Tarts and Dove. We think it's the Pop-Tarts and Ragu. Can you make the note of that, Becky? You have a piece of paper in front of you. I feel like.
Okay.
I'm gonna I have a bias with our choices over here.
All right.
Okay. So then we thought in this next row, this is where we diverged. We thought Dove and toilet paper or Dove and pizza. What did y'all do?
We did pizza and Ragu.
Okay. So lots of different choices here. So I may not move them over. And then finally, it's either pizza or toilet paper in the top for us.
We had toilet paper.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show the prices. Move everything out the way. Oh, not the house.
Come back, house.
Okay. So I'm just gonna move this toilet paper. Okay. So let's start with the ramen noodles. We all agreed on that. The ramen at Walmart is 24 cents. So we thought it was like $1, but it's really like 24 cents for the one pack of the ramen noodles. That's pretty low, right? So it's like, okay, it's gonna be hard not to get this next level. So, so let's start with everyone thought Pop-Tarts, so we're gonna start with Pop-Tarts. $1.82 for Pop-Tarts. So that's more than 24 cents, so we're in good shape. And then this is where it gets a little tricky. So I'm gonna go to the Dove. Do you have Dove on this?
We did, yes.
Yeah, okay.
On the first, we had it on the first level.
That's what I thought. Okay. $3.47 for Dove. That's a lot. So that puts us at
That would
29?
be $5.29.
$5.29.
Mhm.
Like a $5.29 plan. College savings plan, $5.29. Okay. So you thought, so this is $5.29 for the first choice of Pop-Tart and Dove, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now we're going to reveal the Ragu. $1.77. So $1.77 plus
182
$1.82,
gives you 359.
$3.59.
Mhm.
So we got $5.29, and you say $3.59.
59. Uh-huh.
Okay, so, all right, and then there's one more combination with the Pop-Tarts, right? No, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now this is make or break on this next level, right? So we have Charmin. You guys did not have toilet paper. You had toilet paper at the top, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
So for us, we have Dove and the toilet paper or pizza. So I'm going to reveal the pizza, because you guys have pizza on this level, right? I feel like it matters. It doesn't. We're just gonna reveal it. All right, pizza is $5.87. Oh no. Pizza's $5.87. Right, so that is already more than the $5.29 and the $3.59. Okay. But if you said, so Dove was $3.47 and the pizza was
587.
$5.87. So that is
934.
$9.34. So that is second level.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's
And
good to go.
then the final piece is the Charmin. It's
Mhm.
$12.97. So it's super expensive. So if toilet paper is on the row with the TV and the bathtub, it's too high. It's too high, right?
So your group that chose the Dove and the toilet paper, that comes out to 1644.
Mhm.
And then my group that chose pizza and ragu, that comes out to 764.
Right. So we did have someone who chose the Dove and the pizza.
And
So
that
Dove
came,
and the toilet paper. No, Dove and the pizza is what?
that one was, you did, your other group chose Dove and pizza, and that came out to 934.
934, which means if the toilet paper is on top, it's more than that. So they would have gotten that correct. So let me put this in the right order so it makes sense, because I feel like it's all kind of confusing right now for me. So I can imagine what it is for everyone else. So it should be Charmin should be on top. So it's very much right. The ramen noodles should be on the first row. That's absolutely right. So then here for this level, it should be the ragu and the Pop-Tarts. And then it should be Dove and pizza, right?
Yeah, there's a little bit of wiggle room in there.
That's true.
But yes, the Charmin definitely has to go on top.
Yes. So again, that just to kind of give you a sense of, as you're shopping and you're buying, it's really easy to overestimate or underestimate really how much things cost, right? Because, depending on how much we put, what value we put towards things, it will influence how we think how much that costs. So I think it's a fun little game. It's something kind of trying to think about. Are there any questions out there? I see there's a ton of chat, but I don't know if that's all y'all are talking.
That was just when we were plotting all of our little things.
How'd
So
you
we're
guys-
good.
How'd y'all do?
We did great. Yeah, my team rocked.
My team rocked too. They were great. I mean, they rocked. This is some slight hiccups, but they were fine. There's something to think about. I do want to see if anyone has any questions, because we are kind of wrapping up. I just want to have just one. Oh, we're really out of time. So I do want to say, definitely feel like if you do have questions for us, you can definitely reach us at the Center for Financial Wellness. And we have a survey. If you can please take a moment. It takes less than a minute to complete. But if you don't mind, we try to improve the presentations that we give. And so if you can kind of let us know what your thoughts are. And if you do need to reach us, you can email us at financialwellness@utk.edu, or you can check out our website at financialwellness.utk.edu. We're always happy to kind of explore these topics further and to definitely help you with making a holiday spending plan or a spending plan in general. So I'm gonna go back if you need to get that again. There you go.
And while y'all are completing the survey, just want another reminder, and this is our last Adulting 101 for the semester. We will be back in the spring, TBD on that lineup and those plans, but you can always check that out at calendar.utk.edu or the Vol Life app. As a reminder, we're not done yet with our events for the semester. We will have several things post-Thanksgiving, so if you are on or around campus, then again, check calendar and Vol Life app for those dates and times. We're doing an ornament making workshop. There's going to be a downtown Knoxville tour and a couple of virtual trivia events. There's also trivia on Thursday in person here at the Student Union. If y'all want to check that out at 7 o'clock. So thank y'all again so much for spending some time with us this evening. Hope y'all have a great rest of your night and rock the rest of your semester. Again, if y'all have questions, Center for Financial Wellness is always available to help, and so is the Center for Student Engagement. But thank you all again.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. That was